part 2 of this tutorial. Be sure to do part 1 first.
It's time to wet it and to soap it. So I've got a piece of old curtain netting and it's polyester, and you need this so that it won't stick to the felt and that the fibres won't come through it too much. It does come through a little bit, but you can rip it off, and you simply place it down. If it's not completely flat, don't lift it off again because it's quite coarse and it will just lift your fibres up. And then we need water and soap. So I have my netting placed and I have my water. It's tepid water, it's not hot, it's not cold, because at this point we want to work slowly. Hot water makes the process much quicker. I've got one of these felting sprinklers, which are not necessary really, but they are fun. So you squeeze it in, place it in the water, sucks up the water, and then you simply spritz it all over your work. And you want to completely wet your work out. And of course, if you don't have one of these sprinklers, and I didn't for many years, they're kind of a new thing really, but you can easily just get an old milk bottle, plastic bottle, fill it with water and put holes in the top and then sprinkle it on. It works better than pouring it on because you don't want the fibres to separate. And then when you feel that it's completely wet, you can see how wet mine is. You simply go around pressing, no rubbing, just pressing down. And you can see quite clearly here how wet my work is. Once I feel that it's nice and wet and completely pressed down, then I can add my soap. Now I always use olive oil soap, and this is a huge bar. And the reason I use olive oil soap is that it's really kind to your hands, it's kind to the fabric, the fibres, and I've never found it to be creating any allergies with people when I'm teaching, so I just find it's the best one to use. It's also good for the planet, there's nothing nasty in it, and you can buy this in any health food shop. Olive oil soap. As I say, you don't need a huge bar like this, but actually having a big bar makes it easier because I just simply glide it over the work. And when I feel that it's completely covered all my work in soap, then I can gently begin to rub. And at this point, you do it very gently. The reason we're doing it gently is we want those wool fibres to become agitated and to poke through the silks. Imagine my hand is the silk and underneath are the fibres. You want them to gradually pop through, grab the silks and come back down. It'll all make sense in the end. And I'm going to spend probably about 10 minutes just doing this very gently. So I've been rubbing now for about 10 minutes, and can you see there's some fibres starting to come through? And at this point we're going to just check that we're not sticking together. So flick your work back, hold on to your work, and where the fibres lift, make sure that you press down with your hand to stop them being pulled off. And already you can see that things are beginning to amalgamate. It's by no means ready, and actually if I go like this you can see things move a lot, so that tells me that we're not ready yet. So I'm going to carry on rubbing for about another 10 minutes. And in rubbing, some of my soap has kind of dried up, if you like, so I'm just gently, well, not even gently anymore, I'm going across my work to get some more soap on it. And I am actually now getting really quite vigorous in my rubbing, and especially where we've got things such as the sequins. If you can see, I'm pressing really hard on them to make sure that the fibres passing through the tulle that's holding the sequins together. and anything that I can feel that's moving slightly or that's slightly raised, I'm just rubbing really hard. And I'm going to carry on again for another few minutes. Now you can see lots of fibres are starting to come through onto the surface of the net. So I think this is telling me that we're almost ready to start fulling the piece, which is where the shrinkage occurs, but only after we've rubbed it substantially and making sure that there's nothing on there that's still moving. And actually, when I go round it, things are still moving a little bit. Can you see? If I just mess with it a bit, it's still moving. It's almost there, it's almost stable. These will move a lot more, the sari ribbons, but they will actually ruche up in the bits that haven't stuck down properly, so that gives us a really good effect. So I'm just laying it back and I'm going to carry on rubbing for another few minutes. Now here you can see I've got a felter's tool. It's like a rolling pin with lots of grooves cut out of it, like in a grid formation, and it's rather nice. It's another way of causing friction, because essentially that's what I'm looking for, to cause friction, to get some of the barbs on the wool to pass through the silks. But you don't need one of these expensive tools. Well, actually they're saying expensive. They're about 25 euros, which I guess is about $20, something like that. And again, I'll put on my link, if you subscribe, down below you'll see where I put the information for all the resources. So yeah, you can just do that. Or another way in which you can do it is you roll it around the rolling pin, and you can actually go backwards and forwards like so. I'm also going to show you another method of rolling with something you can find in a thrift store. And this is a bamboo mat that actually was part of a window covering, and I found it in the thrift store, but you can also buy these now for felting. They're just bamboo mats, a bit like the sushi mats you can buy but bigger. And to use one of those, you simply place it under your work and you roll it up almost as if you were making sushi. And it's the same principle. And then you're just going to roll it backwards and forwards. And what we're doing here is we're making sure that those fibres are really connecting together and getting tangled up. And now we're going to have a look at it, see how we're doing. So here, when I press it and do this, you can see it's like one piece of fabric. It's so quick the way it turns into a piece of fabric. And if I do the pinch test, by that I mean we grab hold and lift like this, and it's coming up as one piece and nothing seems to be shifting. Then at this point, I think we're safe to say that we could start to shrink it. And there are lots of different ways to shrink it. We can carry on rolling it in the mat, as I said before, where we just go backwards and forwards, and we'll do that for about 5 minutes. And sometimes it's good to count. You might want to roll it 30 times, then you open it up and you turn it round by 90 degrees and then roll it this way. And if you look, I'm not totally covering it in plastic. The plastic protects it a little bit, especially where the sequins are. So I'll carry on rolling it and I'll carry on turning it 90 degrees each way. I'm just going to talk about the edges. I like my edges organic, and by that I mean wavy. But I just want to show you a way of getting your edges very straight. And to do that, we can just, oops, I don't want it to cover up the colour. We can just fold, turn it over, and we can just fold the edges back on themselves. But if there's something really interesting, you might not want to lose that edge. So if you were doing it and you wanted straight edges, you simply straighten your edges like so. But I do like quite an organic edge, to be fair. For this one, I will just fold it back. Oops, not quite enough. The one at the bottom, I'm a little less happy about folding that, but just for the sake of purpose here to show you how to do it. I'm going to fold it a bit more, folding it, and then with this edge it's the same. I'm going to fold it to a straight edge, and you can fold it back to check if it's gone too far. I think that's good. It'll still be a little wonky, but the edges will be straighter. And I'm just going to carry on rolling it still, making my sushi wrap and going backwards and forwards, but it's making the table shake, so I'll just do that in my own time for another 5 minutes, remembering to turn it after a couple of minutes 90 degrees. Here I am, I've just turned it 90 degrees, so now it's lengthways, and again rolling for another 2 minutes. But I don't want to make the table shake and the video wonky, so I'll just do this off camera for another few minutes. Now at this point I've rolled it backwards and forwards for a few minutes, and I can say that everything is well and truly felted down. So for the next stage, it's just a little trick of speeding things up. I scrunch it all together. I'm going to squeeze out some of the excess, a little bit of dye coming out of my hand-dyed fibres. So here's a little trick. You simply scrunch your work together and rub it and knead it, and you can also throw it really quite hard, and this is all going to cause the fibres to mix together and to shrink, and we will create felt. So I'm going to do this for a few more minutes until I'm satisfied with the size of my work. Every now and again you can have a peep, but it's best just to keep rubbing and keep going and keep fulling your work, which means shrinking and felting. And I'll show you the results in a moment. So I've got my felt here, and the last thing I'm going to do now is add some very hot water, still giving it a scrunch as hot as I can bear with my hands, and this just helps the shrinkage process even more. And then once I'm sure that I've got all the soap out, give it a final squeeze, and then I'm just going to throw it back and forth in the sink for another few seconds till I know it's shrunk to as much as I need. And how will I know that? Well, I just know from experience, but I'll show you what to look for in a moment. So I've completely wrung out my work till it is no longer squeezing out any water. I'm giving it a last little throw, and then I'm satisfied that it's shrunk enough. It's probably shrunk by about 40%. On the back you can see it's very wrinkly. Can you see how it's like wrinkly? And then on the front it's a bit dark at the moment just because it's wet, but on the front you can see it's shrunk considerably, and you can see all those rich and gorgeous textures and fibres. So now I love this bit where it's all wrinkled with the side ribbon. I'm going to put it to dry, and then I'll show you it dry. One last thing to mention, whilst it's wet you can pull it into the shape that you wish. So if you want to square it out more, you simply place your hand down and stretch it, and it's very forgiving when it's wet, but once it's dry that's the shape it'll take, unless of course you re-wet it. So here's the finished product. For the moment I've just folded it over a book to see what it would look like as a little purse or even as a book cover. It's just full of so many different gorgeous textures. I'm even thinking I could use it as a table centerpiece, maybe to put an ornament on. Either way, there's lots of things we could do with it. I could even add some extra sewing and embellish around the details, but I just love the way we have these tiny bits of silk waste. The sequins are popping, everything's super shiny, and it just looks like jewels, magical jewels. And you can see the way that the fibres have passed from back to front. The greens have come through the black. The black hasn't really passed through to the front. It's maybe darkened the colours a little, but somehow it's just made it that much richer, I feel.
quite fancy it as a little purse actually. And here I've just hung it in the sunshine, just so you can see those colours vibrant in the natural light. They look lovely with the autumn colours of the leaves. So what do we do with this piece of fabric now? Well, in the past I've turned them into mini projects. I've created a little folder to put precious things in, I've made a wrap to put crochet needles or paint materials in, and I've made a little book cover as well. So now I'm going to show you the wrap that I made. And basically I made a cord out of felt and I made some flowers too. I then took a piece of fabric and I sewed over the top of the felt and made little pockets so you can put in your various objects. Here you can see I've got my painting tools, so it's a lovely little wrap to take with me when I'm out and about painting. I'll put links to other videos on how I make the flowers and the cords. You can also go to Patreon to see those videos and to see other little projects that I do. Here I have an integrated pocket that I felted within the piece as I was going along, so the only sewing was a little stitch by hand to make little compartments. And then I've got a flower as a fastener. And again, I'm going to show you in future videos, if you like and subscribe, how to make these gorgeous flowers. So stay tuned and please remember to like and subscribe to get further videos. And please also check out my Patreon page to see what's going on behind the scenes and for other little felting videos. Take care now and see you soon. Thank you.